right, welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Chasing Ghosts. This is now the 25th episode that I've done of this series. I can't believe how fast time flies. But this is the series where I talk about those hard-to-find books, those impossible-to-find books, those things you just don't see on your day-to-day when you're out hitting up your LCSs or even at a lot of the shows and conventions you might go to. Just some tough, oddball books that just aren't always out there and readily available when you're looking. Now, hopefully you're enjoying this series as well as the rest of the stuff on the channel. If you are, let me know in the comments. Please like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Keep telling friends so we can keep growing the channel and keep doing some more giveaways. And if you want to see what this week's special Halloween edition books are, just hang on for a few seconds after the intro and I'll be right back. All right, so as I noted in the open there, we are going to be looking at some kind of Halloween-themed books. I figured, you know what, Halloween's coming up this weekend. Why not just take a look at some fun stuff, some horror-themed, for the season, type ghosts for us to look at. And our first book is actually thanks to one of our viewers here, Gary Hendroff, who actually mentioned this in the comments section all the way back on episode 5 of this series. So here we are, 20 weeks later, and now I'm finally getting to it. I told you, I'd take it all down. You guys make suggestions. I put them on my list. I'll get to them eventually. I was kind of holding this for Halloween, and here we are. So our first recommendation and book for the week is going to be this Dark Horse book, Drawing on Your Nightmares. This Hellboy cover, the special Hellboy edition. This was a one-shot issue normally, but this particular issue here with the Hellboy Magnolia cover is a Diamond Retailer Summit giveaway from back in 2003. So you had to go to the Diamond Retailer Summit to get this one. This wasn't available for purchase. So pretty cool cover. I love the pumpkins. I love the coloring here. Even though orange and red usually don't go, I kind of like it here. I think it works. Definitely a pretty cool cover. So considering this was a giveaway and a Retailer Summit giveaway, I don't have a print run estimate for you. I don't know how many copies of this could potentially be out there, but it definitely doesn't look like it's a lot because this is not something you see all the time, and I think is why Gary had recommended it. Now, if we want to look at the census to see how many of these books have actually been graded, well, that number is also pretty low. Only 19 total have been sent into CGC to hit the census. 9 of them 9.8s, 5 9.6s, and then a few others just kind of rounding it out. So definitely not a lot of copies getting graded of this as well. And that's not too surprising. Sometimes even with these giveaway books, they're not held in the best condition. Even though they're being given away to dealers, it's just many of them don't come prepared. Like they just get handed a floppy comic and what are you going to do with it? They don't have a bag and board on hand. They may not have a bag or some way to secure the book, and it may not last the travel of going back through the con or whatever the hell they're doing. But that being said, what do we have available for this so we can see if we wanted this book, can we get one online if we were to go looking? And there are some options. There are two, $110 and $100. So basically $100. This looks like around a $100 book right now, the asks. There are two. One of them signed if you were so interested in that, but I think it might be signed by Steve Niles. I'm not positive of the signature, but 2 copies out there. Like I said, it looks like it's about a $100 ask on this book, but there are a couple of options. And if you want to see what actually sold for this one, we had one October 7th for $50. So not too bad. Yeah, it was a giveaway book after all. It's just one you just don't see all the time. So there it is. Now, next up, following up on that, we're sticking with a Halloween type theme. So I did a lot of vampires. I did the vampire, Forgotten variants over the weekend, the Marvel books, and then I just did the X-Force, basically vampire movie themed, covers for my first episode of Run for Covers, which hopefully you guys check that out and like that series. Let me know what you think on that one. I don't know. It just seemed like something fun to do. That all being said, next up, we actually do have sort of a run of covers that I want to talk about, and these are all very limited Vampirella books. So we're going to stick kind of with that vampire theme. We're going to kind of stick with that cover run theme for our next pick and talk about these Jenny Frison. Very, very limited. These are limited to 25 or 50, depending on the issue number, from what I can gather, researching it out there. So these aren't even incentive-based. These are limited to 25 copies or 50 copies total. These Virgin variants, all featuring gorgeous Jenny Frison art. And these were from 2014. Again, the issues came out monthly, so each issue is going to be a different month. So I'm just going to generalize it and say 2014 on these. And the one we're looking at here first is issue 1 of this 2014 series. And as you can say, like I said, the cover is just gorgeous. And this one was limited to 50. So they only made 50. I'm not even sure how you had to get them. You might have had to order them. I saw there were listings for them on the Dynamite website, so maybe you had to buy them there initially, or I don't know if they were offered to stores or how that was done back in 2014. But if you even look now on the Dynamite store, you can see some of these listed as they were like $100 buy-ins or $75 buy-ins. Of course, they're sold out. They're obviously sold out now, but they're still listed there. A couple of these covers, so you can see what the asking price was for some of these on the Dynamite comic shop website. But that all being said, just to give you a sense of what we're looking at here. So this 50 copies, how many got graded for this issue 1? 8. So 8 have been sent in out of those 50. 4 of them 9/8, looks like 3 9/4s, and then a 9/0 are all the copies that got graded, so far. I mean, that's 8 out of the 50. Not too bad ratio wise, but it's just definitely not a lot. I mean, only 50 copies. Come on, there's just not something you're going to see all the time. Again, gorgeous art. And we do have one out there, and raw copy asking $300 or a best offer. So as you can also see, it is not cheap, but you can imagine why. I mean, there's not a lot of copies. So if you are a big Vampirella fan or a big Jenny Frison fan, these are going to be grails for you because there's not many people that can say they have them. So did any of these sell that we can look at? We actually do have 2 sales. One in September 10th for $250, and then one just a couple of weeks ago on October 11th, best offer on $200. So it was marked down from $250, and then they had it for $200, and then somebody made an offer. I didn't go in to find out what the accepted price is, but one would imagine it's still somewhere in that $150 to $200 range. But still, definitely not a cheap book, and definitely want to keep an eye out for it if you somehow stumble across this. Definitely worth your time and effort to be aware of this, as well as the rest again of this run, because each of these issues that started this series, this was issue 1, and then we can look at issue 2 here. Another fantastic cover. I love the blood that's just like a skull face kind of in the reflection of the blood a little bit, or that's just how the waves of the blood are. It's just fantastic. Also from 2014. Limited on this one to only 25 copies. So issue 2 only had 25 copies total 25. And when we look in the census, we got 1. We only got 1, and it's a 9/8 in the census for this Virgin edition. Again, gorgeous Jenny Frison art. Would love to have these. There is also trade dress versions of these. So if you can't find these, be aware there are trade dress versions that were one of the variants, like, because Dynamite usually has a lot of covers. There's like ABC covers, if not more. And then they have some various incentives that are like black and whites or versions of those other various covers. So there's tons of covers for most of these Dynamite type Vampirella books. So be aware of that. And all of these covers that we're looking at here that are the Virgins, there was a trade dress version as well. I mean, some of them still sell okay, but nowhere near what we're talking about here with these super limited editions. And this one, we want to see what's listed for sale on this one. If you want issue 2, well, there's none. There's none for issue 2, nor were there any recently sold copies. So this one is just not there to be had. And that's the story for a lot of these, because again, I'm not going to cover each of these individually. I just did the first 2. Now I'm just going to run through the next couple so you know what those covers are. But the story's basically the same. There is, like, at best 1 copy or no copies of all of these, and just really no sales. And the pricing is still in that couple $100 range for all of them. So story's basically the same, so I'm not going to cover them all one by one. I'm just going to kind of breeze through them here with issue 3, which is probably my favorite. I really dig this cover with her just lying in the blood and the, her outfit just blending in. I think it's just fantastic. Love this cover. And this one limited to also 25. Some sources were saying 50 out there on some of these, but then when I went, like I said, I went to the Dynamite site and it's listed 25. So Dynamite would know better than, I think, other sources. So I'm going with what Dynamite said. 25 on this one. Again, same story. This was issue 3. And then, of course, we'll move on to issue 4. Another cool cover. Looks like just these snakes just all around. And just awesome stuff. This one also super limited to 25. So keep that in mind, that you're just not going to see these very easily. But there may be a copy or two out there. You just got to be aware. Maybe put them on your eBay watch list, so when they pop up, you get alerted and see if it's something you want to act on or not. Because again, these are still pricey. They're definitely, the asking prices aren't cheap. Which will take us into our number 5. And for whatever reason, as we go through these covers, she's looking more and more like Zooey Deschanel to me. I don't know why. Just something in the face. Maybe it's the haircut with the bangs. New girl. I don't know why. But this butterfly cover is kind of cool. I mean, if you like butterflies and vampires, yeah, it goes together. So this is issue 5, which was also limited to 25. Now, the next one, again, I'm just seeing Zooey Deschanel here for some reason. That's just what I'm seeing. I don't know. Let me know if you see it too. But this is issue 6. This one, I think, was limited to 50 from what I could gather. And though I don't see this one out there either. It's just tough. But I kind of dig this, just the 3-color nature of it, basically. I mean, just black, white, and red. I mean, I know there's other shades in there, a little bit of green in the eyes or bluish hazel, but definitely a really gorgeous, gorgeous cover, and would love to have this in my collection, but I just don't. And this was issue 6. There was also an issue 7, but there was some conflicting reports over whether it is one of these super limited editions or if that issue 7 was just an incentive version. Many things out there said there was an incentive version for issue 7, and I see actually a few copies of issue 7 out there, so that's why I did not include it in this grouping. So I'm just cutting it at 6 because that's all I'm sure of being the super limited to 25 or 50 editions that we're looking at here for Chasing Ghosts. Because, like I said, there was a few copies available and a few copies sold of issue 7. So I think that was just more of a regular incentive variant. So it automatically would probably disqualify itself from being considered a ghost. Hard to find, but probably not a ghost. And it was also much cheaper than the ask on these. Like that was more of a $40 to $50 ask, whereas some of these were a couple hundred, as you saw. And just to also kind of wrap that up, there is one listing out there that has issues 1 through 7 of these, including that number 7 I'm talking about, but $1,600 for all of them. So $1,600 for all 7 of these covers, limited to 25 or 50. And like I said, I think that number 7 is a ratio incentive of some kind. But 14 watchers, so people are aware. It's not an unknown thing. There's a few people keeping an eye on this, but $1,600, that's a tall order there, Nordberg. So that's a couple $100 each. You average it out. That's over $200 each. So keep that in mind. But you can also make an offer if you were so inclined and you want all of these. I mean, I'd love to have all these, but I don't got, $1,600 to go throwing around right now. So that is what I wanted to cover with the Vampirella set, which will take us on to our next selection, which is we're going to look at little Elsa Bloodstone for a little while. While she herself is not like a monster character, she's a monster hunter. So I think it still kind of fits this Halloween theme that we're going with, as well as this first variant being on the Marvel Zombies title from that Secret Wars run. This was not the original Marvel Zombies run. This was, again, during Secret Wars, where they had the minis, the multiple minis, and this was the mini for Marvel Zombies. And this cover here is the 1 in 15 incentive, which I get it. It looks like a blank cover. But if you look, there's a little dot. There's a little dot here in the center that has a little tiny Elsa Bloodstone on it. And if you want a better look at what that little dot image is, it's on the back cover, which is fantastic. This is Jerome Pena, I believe, did the art on this. I dig it. I love the back of it. I did find one of these in a variant box for a few bucks and was happy to find this book because it is pretty cool. I dig it. I really wish this was the front cover, but if you get this graded, you'll still have it nicely, displayed on the back so you can still see it kind of clearly. But definitely a cool cover. Again, this is a 1 in 15 incentive from June of 2015 during the Secret Wars, crossover event through Marvel. Estimated print run on that book was just under 52,000. So when you do that quick math, this incentive being 1 in 15 would probably have around 3,400 copies, which is not a tiny number. So there are copies out there to be had for sure. And if we want to look at the census, not many in the census, only 8 with 798s and a single 94 as being graded right now in the census. So definitely not a ton for this Jerome Pena cover, but it's definitely pretty cool. I like it. I know some other people had talked about this one over the last few months, but Definitely a cool cover. And if you want to see what's out there for sale, well, you got options. Now, they're not all cheap options, but there are options. This thing can be asking anywhere from $125 to the $80 range to 70 to, here for a few more 70. Some of them like to display that back cover instead of the front cover to try to sell it. It makes no difference to me. You just know what you're buying. Like the front cover is going to have that little dot, and then the back cover has the awesome image, just so you know. But you can see plenty of copies out there to be had. And if you want to see what this thing sells for, well, this thing actually sells pretty well, even if it does sell for a few bucks. Some best offers in that $75 range, couple selling for $75, $70. Got a whole nother page of some offers on about $70 to $65. I didn't look up what the actual accepted amounts were. I'd probably imagine it's in that $50 range because we still got more. We got more $60, $50 offers, $50 sales. We got $32 sales. So there are plenty of copies being sold in that $30 to $70 range on this book. So as you can see, a lot of copies moving over the last few months of this book. So it's probably going to take itself out of contention to be an actual ghost, but still a cool book. Now, this Marvel Zombies book, that had Elsa Bloodstone here on the variant cover, also had a 1 in 25 that also had her on the cover. She's also on the cover, the cover A as well, which is a pretty cool cover, but there's 50-some thousand copies of that, so plenty to be had. But the 1 in 25 is pretty good too. I kind of dig this. I mean, Greg Land can sometimes be hit or miss with me, at least personally, but I like this one. I dig it with all the zombies in the background, and you got Elsa there in the middle. Pretty cool, if you ask me. This one is a higher ratio incentive, so it's a little tougher to find. This is a 1 in 25 of this same book, Marvel Zombies 1 from Secret Wars, June 2015. Same print run, as I said, just under 52,000. But being 1 in 25, there's probably only around 2,000 copies of this as opposed to 3,400 of the other one. So going to probably be less copies and harder to find than the other one we just looked at. And despite that, there's still more in the census with a total of 15. Still not a lot, and not a lot more, but still more. 11 9/8 and 4 9/6 make out that 15 in the census total. So all high grade from what's in there. And if we want to see what's out there, if you want to go shopping for this one, well, don't worry. There are copies. There are copies you can pick from. Anywhere from like $80, $100, $75. So this is, again, $7,500 asking prices. Not too bad on these 4. So you got 4 options right now. And if you want to see what it's selling for, well, I got one sale, which was a best offer on $100. So it's still probably in that $75 to $100 range of what's been asking for. But and this was just October 16th, this sale. So very recent sale. I guess other people are thinking of Halloween and thinking of Elsa Bloodstone too, which is why one of these moved. So if you're interested, that's what's out there. If you have one, that's what you can expect to get. Just saying, that's where the market is right now. Oh, I actually did look this one up. This one I do have the sale price, $96. So even though it was a $99.99 offer, they only discounted it $4. So it wasn't a deep discount. This wasn't like hey, I got this thing for $75 or half price. Nope. They only saved $4 on that offer. So price is still right around that $100 mark on this one. But still, pretty cool cover. I like it. And on top of that, I got one more Elsa Bloodstone variant that I want to talk about. And this one is Monsters Unleashed, the Future Fight variants on Monsters Unleashed 3, where they did all this kind of like video game covers. I think Hulk was on the first cover. I think there was a Devil Dinosaur one there later in the run. But Elsa found herself on the cover to issue 3. I remember my buddy telling me about this book when it came out. I'm like, all right, it's kind of cool, but I don't know. I don't feel like paying a premium, like over ratio. I think at the time was like $30 for it. Because this particular issue here, I believe, is a 1 in 25. And as I said, the asking price at the shop, I think near us, was a little over the ratio. So I was like, I don't know if I like it that much. February 2017, so it's not all that old. But this Inhuck Lee cover is pretty cool when you look at it. I don't know. It's kind of grown on me now that I don't have it and never had it. So I kind of wish that I had bought one. But again, still a pretty decent print run on this, over 50,000, and the incentive would still give it in that 2,000 amount range, just like our last one. We're looking in the census of what is here. There's 21 copies in the census with 18 9/8 and 2 9/6 and a 9/4. All, again, high grade. So not really any low grades getting snuck through there. All pretty high grades that are getting sent to CGC. But still not a lot. 21 still not a lot in the census. And if you want to go shopping for this one right now, you don't have a lot of options. There's only one I could find, and it ain't cheap. $175. Again, I wish I would have paid that $30, I think, when it was out, because $175 now with 10 watchers. So a lot of people looking at this one as well. And it's the only copy out there. So I'll be curious to see if it sells, because there have been a couple of sales over the last couple of months. 9/8 went for like $300 on October 14th, and then on October 10th and 17th, $180 sale, and then a best offer on $180. So this book has sold, and it's sold for a decent amount. So just keep that in mind if you are also looking. Pretty cool cover. Elsa Bloodstone, she doesn't have a lot of variants apart from these two that I showed. She has a couple on that Deadpool run, I think issue 1 and 2. But really outside of that, she doesn't have a lot of appearances, let alone variant cover appearances. So just keep that in mind if you are looking to collect Elsa Bloodstone. And I know there will be some debate over what her first is, considering, yes, Bloodstone #1 is her, but it really isn't what the character we know now. So a lot of folks like looking at Next Wave 1, because that is more in line with the Monster Hunter character that we know right now with the red hair as opposed to blonde. Again, I'm not going to debate all of that. I suggest having both if you can, because I like the cover to Bloodstone 1. It is technically her first appearance, and I love Next Wave. So I suggest getting that whole run if you can, whether it be her first appearance or not. That Warren Ellis run, Next Wave Agents of Hate, was a great 12-issue run. So if you can find it, I mentioned it before on Dollar Bin Digging, go pick it up, because it's worth the read and it's worth having. I think Stuart Immonen on the art too. Fantastic series. Definitely go grab it. All right, so for our next selection, we're going to go into another kind of short cover run. I don't know why I'm stuck on cover runs right now, but I kind of am, and I'm kind of digging it because I like looking at these things. That being said, just yesterday, Martian Comic Hunter, big fan. He has most of these ghosts that I share, and I love seeing his collection share through IG. So if you're not following him on IG, make sure you follow him, because tons of fantastic books. But yesterday, he shared these books, and I told him at that time, I was like, you know what? I'm probably going to steal this and use this on one of my shows. He said, go ahead. So here we are. The very next day, I'm putting it in, and we are talking about the Rest in Pieces covers on Punisher. Just great stuff. I'm just going to start. I'm not going to go through every single one of these with all the pricing information. The most popular one and the most expensive one is this one, and this is a 1 in 15 from October 2009. This is issue 10, which is the headshot, because again, pieces. You're going to get the idea as we go on through this. This is the headshot. So we've got the head on the table. Fantastic cover. Estimated print run, only around 27,000. And the story, again, is basically the same for a lot of these as far as numbers go. It's just pricing is a little bit different. So 27,000 and a 1 in 15 is going to give us just around 1,800 copies of this incentive potentially out there. So definitely under some of the other ones, just because it's a lower print run, even though the ratio is pretty low at 1 in 15. If we want to look at what's actually in the census for this one, only 5. None of these have a lot of copies in that CGC census. All of them around this like 5 or lower number, honestly, when I looked at them. I did grab and research all of them individually, but like I said, I don't want to go through all of them one by one with you guys. I'm just going to do issue 10, and then we'll look at the other covers. So what's listed for sale on issue 10? Well, there are a couple, not a ton, but a couple. But you can see these are steep prices. $225, $210, and $150 at auction with 6 days left. So this is like a $200 book. Definitely not easy to find this one. People like this. I like this. I kind of wish I had one, but I don't. So we'll keep an eye out, and maybe I can come across one of those 1,800 copies that are potentially floating around out there somewhere. And if you want to see what sells, on this thing, there were 2. A 9/8 sold for $150, probably not a bad price, and October 13th one sold for $100 raw. So not too bad. So the asking prices right now are double basically what the sales have been, but it is what it is. That's what's out there. So if you want one, that's what you got to work with. Make your offers, or you got to pay the price. Up to you. Otherwise, you got to do like me. Just keep hunting until we can find one at a price that we're willing to pay. And like I said, that being said, while the print runs are kind of the same for these next couple of books that also fit this Rest in Pieces variant cover set, and they are all 1 in 15 incentives, this is definitely the priciest one. The other ones you can find for as low as $5, some of them, to $50. Like, so wide range on the prices. Some of them like $50. Some of them are listed in $20, 15, and some, like I said, as low as 5. If you go look them up right now. You can find them on eBay right now. There's not many. There's still not many. Don't get me wrong. There's not a lot of copies, but you'll find like one here for 50 on one of these covers, and the other one has like 3, and one of them is only $5. So not a lot of copies to be had, but there we are. But the run actually started with issue 8. You can see we got the legs, the feet. You got the 2 feet there, and you got the kneecap. This is issue 8. Again, a 1 in 15 cover. And then issue 9 gives us the hands. So again, all in pieces. I kind of dig it. I think it's a fun idea. This was the Frankencastle right before Frankencastle, because here is him in pieces. They put him back together. We get Frankencastle with issue 11, but getting ahead of things. So this is issue 9, gives you the hands. Or you already looked at the head on number 10, but there was also the annual that also came out right around the same time as issue 9, and this has the body. So you have the body. So you got the arms, the legs, the body, the head, all the pieces to be put together. You get the Frankencastle put together on issue 11, which also has a pretty cool second print, which I might cover on a second print show one of these days as well. But we'll see about that as time passes on. But that's what I got for a Halloween edition. Hopefully you like that. Some Frankenstein, Frankencastle, Punisher. We got some Vampirella. We had a little bit of Hellboy, Halloween giveaways, and we also had a couple of Elsa Bloodstone, the Monster Hunter variants. So hopefully, again, like you said, you like that. But given what we looked at and the copies available for some of these, we're going to have to deem a couple of these, because there were 2 copies of the Drawing Nightmares, and even the Marvel Zombies had a couple, and the Punisher had 3. We're just going to have to deem these ones hard to find, because there are options for you if you are out there shopping. So I'm not going to cover everything, because like I said, we did cover a lot of covers. So just in general, that's what we're looking at as hard to find, those options. Whereas the Vampirella super limited books, as well as that Monsters Unleashed Elsa Bloodstone that only had 1, and those Vampirellas that only had like 1 or no copies out there, I can feel comfortable in calling those ones ghosts this week. So that's my call. Let me know what you think in the comments, or if you agree, disagree, what you think of these books. Well, if you have them, and if you have them, share them on IG, tag me. I'd love to see it. I always love being tagged and looking at some of these hard to find books, these rare books, as well as your pickups. I also like seeing people's pickups, see what people are buying, because I don't know, I'm interested in that thing. I love comics, and hopefully you do too. And hopefully you're enjoying this series, because I'm still having a lot of fun doing it, even though we are now 25 episodes in. So I'd like to thank you for stopping by, and let's just keep this thing rolling. I'm going to keep going. I still have a long list of books to cover. I have many more options, and if you have more suggestions, keep throwing them at me. Like I said, I put them on the list. It may take me 20 weeks to get to it, but I will get to it eventually. So with that said, thanks again. Please like, subscribe, hit the alert button. Keep telling your friends so we can grow this thing a little bit bigger, and do some more giveaways. And I will see you guys very soon with some more content.